Right then, guys, drill's out. Not for anything spectacular, but anyway, what I'm going to do today is, it's the weekend. I haven't put a video out for a little while because I've been busy with Wolf Boy. So we've been having so much fun that I haven't been doing any videos or anything like that. But he's upstairs at the moment, so I've got a couple of minutes to myself. So what I have done is, since the National Koi Show, I don't think it's just me, but I think a lot of people are having problems with their fish. Nothing to do with the BKKS or the show whatsoever. It's to do with the temperature fluctuations of the night. It's horrendous. It's given a lot of fish white spot. So I've personally never had white spot before in my pond. I kind of know the symptoms. And I have scraped a few of my fish and I just cannot get anywhere. Like, I can't find anything. They're absolutely as clean as a whistle. And trust me, I've got a good microscope. So I done a parameter check on the water, absolutely fine. Ammonia, nitrate, nitrites, all good. pH good. Temperature's 24 degrees. That was my first thing. I was thinking about there's something there. And then I thought to myself, do you know what? For some reason, I've got like 2 20-kilo bags of carbon that has been kicking around. And I thought to myself, I wonder why I've got 20 kilos of carbon kicking around. And it dawned on me, probably because I haven't changed the carbon in my big blue, which is right underneath my arm there. So I done a hanometer check for total chlorine. Yeah, a little bit of chlorine in there. Not loads, but probably like 0.2. Do you know what I mean? I done another one and it was 0.7. So there was a trace, an element of chlorine in the pond. Now, I didn't check out the big blue because I know that my trickle in going into the pond, the chlorine, if you've got a tiny trace coming out your big blue, which isn't ideal, but if you have got a tiny trace, by the time that gets into your pond and dilutes with 500 gallons, that just gets gassed off before it gets anywhere near the koi, I would suspect. So, but having that trace actually in the volume of the pond water probably tells me that I should have changed the carbon in my filters way before now. But anyway, I've identified it. It's been changed. Consequently, the fish are looking a lot happier. Just little builds up of mucus and all that kind of stuff, which isn't normally a thing in my pond. But again, going back to something else now, which was on my mind, I couldn't find anything, and I was convinced that they would probably have white spot, because white spot damages the benny and fish and all that kind of stuff. And a couple of goshkis that I took down, you know, the benny's not shabby, but it ain't the show standard it was when I brought the fish to the National a couple of weeks ago. So I didn't want to specifically just chuck a chemical in there, but like, I thought to myself, I'm gonna have to do something. I can't find anything, but I know there was something going on, you know, like, so I knew there was something going on. So I checked the water. I've done what I can to put the water right. What I suspected was the problem, i.e. the total chlorine, the chlorine coming through the big blue. Now I've got a massive setup when it comes to filtering my water. So obviously I've got the big blue here, which is literally to the top with high grade activated carbon. Okay, it even comes with its own leak. Hang on, you'll see a drip any second. Okay, so it comes from the tap. So I've got a needle valve there, which is really precise. It's really good. It's the best thing I've put on, to be honest. Goes through this, goes through the pre-filter, which I haven't changed actually. I need to get that changed, but that is not my main priority. The carbon was. So it goes through this pipe here, goes straight into the other big blue I've got, which is full of bone char. Now that would probably extract an element of carbon, but that is there for for metals, basically, in the water. Now, I've got a suspicion that I've probably got a bit of copper in my water, because I was getting loads of problems with the fish that, not major problems, but I was getting problems with the fish, just holding excess mucus, flashing, and stuff that isn't like critically, like, you know, detrimental to the fish, but they weren't thriving, they were just surviving. I didn't like the thought of that, so I actually bought this bone char off Andy Finch, and lo and behold, so obviously if I put that filter on today, the trickling going in there, I think I worked it out, the amount of water that trickles in to my trickle in, right, to be able to use the consumption amount of that drum filtering, so the water doesn't go down. Now, if you look at the water behind me there, right, I can't zoom in here. If you look down there at the skimmer, the pond is probably 20 mil lower than it should be. That is literally because I've changed this, and I set the needle valve to the sweet spot before I did change it. So now I've just had to adjust it a tiny little bit, just so I get minimal water in the overflow going out, and this is working absolutely great. Now, I've actually, obviously it totally depends on how much food you're feeding and how much that is actually cleaning. Okay, so at the moment I am absolutely hammering the food in. The pond, talk about the devil, and it shall appear, so the drum's just cleaning. Well, that was a long clean. Satisfying. But the pond now, I'm feeding loads. I'll have to work out, but I'm actually feeding more than 400 grams now. I reckon I'm probably on about 500 or 600 grams. And I chuck in a couple of handfuls a day as well. And the pond parameters are absolutely great. So that tells me that this pond has been up and running for about 6 months, I reckon now. Maybe 7. I literally think, and this is probably exactly correct, I've got a funny feeling that about now, literally exactly now, a year ago, I stuck the spade in the ground. I reckon this is when I started to dig the pond out. So if you can imagine now, probably took me about 5 or 6 months to make this whole pond. For one person, I think that's really good, because it's quite a decent sized pond and there's quite a lot going on. It wasn't a simple job. So it's been up and running for 6 months. Yes, the bio part of it, like the K1 and all, was running in my old pond to start with as well, but I did put, that was only 200 litres of K1. I put another 700 litres of K1 into this moving bed, which is there. So believe it or not, this chamber is 5.5 or 6 foot deep. So where you can see that there, it's literally the same depth as my pond. Okay, there's a lot of volume of water there. I think I've worked out to 550 gallons of water in there. Okay, so like 2,500 litres or whatever. But it's an absolutely hoofing piece of kit. If anyone's doing a pond build and they're going to buy a bio chamber, I'm so sorry to Profi, to Awaz, to like Burton's, to Synergy, or whatever it's called, or Draco. Just build it yourself. There's no point whatsoever. It's just a box. It's so easy to make, and you can make it perfect to fit onto your pond. Literally perfect. So going back to what's going on with the pond, I was like, what is going on with the fish? I was looking at the fish. The benny looked a bit pitted. The mucus looked a bit patchy. There was something going on, especially when I come back from the national. Raised the pond back up to 24 degrees. And the heater hardly goes on, to be honest. It holds it really, really nice. But I couldn't find nothing. So what I've done is I've bought a new product that was suggested to me. Now, like I said, I'm quite partial to a PP treatment. I don't mind a PP treatment, and I'll be honest with you, my fish really don't mind a PP treatment. they'll feed through a PP treatment. They'll come up and play with me through a PP treatment. And that tells me one thing, that it ain't exactly torture to fish a PP treatment. Saying that, don't do it for no reason, but I'm quite comfortable that next time I do a PP treatment, they'll all probably roll over. But in my experience, limited experience so far, PP treatment ain't the end of the world. Doesn't really affect the filters a lot at all. And even if it does, all that bio scum, all that brown scum that you get on the top of the pond, by the time that gets back into your moving bed, it loves it. Do you know what I mean? It's like KFC for it. So it just boosts it back straight away. It like drops down for a couple of days and then boosts it back up. In my opinion, I think that's right. Now, I've got no lab and I'm no expert, but I think that seems to be the case. Because even when I start feeding again, instantly after the PP treatment or the main treatment I'm doing, yeah, again, absolutely no problems with my water parameters at all. So if I'm feeding 500 grams, stop for a day, do the PP, stop for another day again, do my treatment, stop for the day, start feeding 500 grams a day, and I don't get any ammonia or nitrate spikes, that tells me that the filter really hasn't been knocked that much, because it just works fine. Anyway, going back to it, yesterday I done a PP treatment because I was at wit's end. Now don't get me wrong, there's no ulcers, there's no fish rolling over, there's no fish flashing, but I know my fish because they're my fish and I look at them every single day. They haven't been happy since the National Koi Show because of the water temperature fluctuations and all that kind of stuff. And I feel that there's something untoward in the mucus coat somewhere which I cannot find. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how hard white spot is to find, but it's like brown patches which move in the center. Now they look quite like sort of like little dark oxygen bubbles, right, that you can see on a mucus thing. But those little oxygen bubbles, like dissolved oxygen bubbles, don't move. They're just like a little round orb with normally like a little clear center thing. Now, they're about that size, I think, but they're just a brown patch, and when you zoom in, you can actually see movement inside, if you know what I mean. Can't find any flukes, can't find any trick, can't find anything whatsoever on the fish, but there's something going on in the pond. So what I've decided to do, someone has suggested a treatment, which I have never used before, and going back to these things, there is plenty of treatments on the market. I think it's malachine that you treat white spot with, but I can't use malachine because the first thing I done when I come back from the national, because I knew the fish were going to be really upset and really peed off, I heavily salted my pond. So I got my pond up to 0.3, which is fine. Fish love it, mind your own business hates it, right? But still the fish wasn't doing very good. So what I decided to do after talking to some experts in the industry and the trade is give them a little bit more of a dose. So I got it up to 0.6 for a short period of time. The fish really liked it. The fish really thrived in that 0.6. The pond is still running at 0.6 because my trickling is so limited. The pond, you have a cup of my pond water. It is absolutely just like seawater at the moment, but the fish are looking way better and way happier. They're on the feed, no flashing, they're looking lovely, and they are actually appearing to heal a little bit, but I still think there's an underlying issue. So what I have come up with this time is, so it is cloverleaf Absolute Plus Parasite, and it treats for everything. Pretty much 99% of parasites this treats. Okay, so I had to get the 100 grams, which ain't cheap. I think it was like 85, it was 90 quid with postage, right? But I had to get this size packet to treat my pond. Now again, I've got no flukes and I've got nothing like that, right? So I'm not worried about retreating again in 3 to 4 to 7 days time, depending on your temperature and the life cycle of your gill flukes, okay? I'm not interested in that at all. All I'm interested in is if I have got white spot, which is a massive probability, but I can't find it because a lot of other people, really experienced hobbyists, have got it from the show because of that temperature fluctuation. And one of the sort of, I think, you know, reasons I think that is because of the Benny is a little bit pitty and washed out, and that is one of the indicating signs of it, apparently. This product is the only one I could find that you can use. So this is the only one I could find that I could use with, hang on, I did see it just now. So you can use this one with salt. There we are. So Absolute Parasite Plus is safe to use in ponds containing salt. So the fish have been pre-treated, i.e. with a bit of PP, and they've had a full dose of clover leaf. Now, luckily for me, that packet treats 5,500 gallons, 25,000 litres, okay? So I put an extra 500 gallons in. I've just put the whole lot in, okay? So that's what I've done. Hopefully this is going to work. And yeah, I'm going to turn my UV off. I'm not going to bypass the drum this time because when I mixed that up, it was really good. It was like not particularly grainy. It was absolutely fantastic. It was really absorbed into the water very well, and it was, you couldn't feel any texture at all. So I think that'll go through the screen quite well. So the pond, just forget about now. Leave that run through. The fish, to be honest, don't really care. Has it coloured the water a little bit? Let me see. So, no, apart from having a slightly dirty window, no, it hasn't really coloured the water at all. It was a little creamy when I mixed it all up, but like I said, fish don't really mind what's going on. It's produced a tiny little bit of foam on the surface, but so this big Sankey here, the anal fin there, looked a little bit red a couple of days, well, about a week ago. So I've given that a PP bath. That's all lovely now. What else now? So there was another fish in here. So when I came back, actually, I told you what my big Goshki had some raised scales. I give that a PP bath. The scales instantly sat flat again the day after, and consequently now you can just see just behind the dorsal fin there, it's thrown a scale, but it's totally clear. And then we've got the Goshki here and the other Goshkis, mainly the Goshkis that threw a little bit of Benny. I don't know if you can see it on that, but yes, the Benny does look good, but you can just see a little bit of pitting in the Benny. So I'm expecting that to come back because they're back on the colour food now. So that's going to be a good one. But what I have noticed is one or two splits in the fin here and there, which is normally an indication of maybe parasitic problems. Because a great learning curve for me was when I had the little grow-on pond down there, I had load of temperature fluctuations, if you can remember, because my heater broke, and one of the particular fish in there looked a little bit trashed. Its fins looked shabby as hell. It was the weakest fish in there, and obviously it got like attacked by trichodenas, right? So not trichodina, by Costia, and that is one of the reasons I know that when I look at my fish's fins, I'm not on about a rip or, you know, like a bit of damage from a bump or a feeding frenzy. You could just see random rips appearing and a little bit ragginess, and that for me now is an indication where I should be a little bit wary and take a bit of time and investigate what's going on. Never rains, it pours. However, I'm not too worried. I'm quite comfortable. But let's go and have a look at the grow on. Actually, let's go and have a look at my sister's garden. Oh, she's got a greenhouse. I won't disturb them. They're hard at work. Just about to get the jet wash on here because I've got loads of carbon that I need to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change these possibly with actual glass sheets. But anyway, guys, yeah, nothing has changed because I've had Wolf, obviously. But what has changed is my my compo has gone absolutely solid now. So that's really good. And I've realised that when I've got my backy shower here, if I use the backy shower or whether I put the Momotaro in, I'm not quite sure yet. I really am torn between buying 2 tiers for my Momotaro and putting it straight across or putting the smaller backy shower there. I really don't know yet. That's going to be something I'm going to have to think about, but I am very much looking forward to getting this done. I think possibly I'm going to have a few hours this week to do it because I think Yasmin and Wolf are going back to Kent on Monday for a week to spend some time with their family up there. So I'll probably be able to get down here and do some graft because what I do have to do is stick a bottom drain in here, which was on my last video. So not particularly looking forward to that because, yeah, I could use my time better somewhere else, but that needs to be done. Another exciting thing, guys, is there's a little event coming up in my Muckagee Crafties workplace, Perfect Aquatics. Now I'm gonna get on board with this one. It's nothing to do with me, it's just I intend entering it because I know what they've got planned. So they've got some Momotaro really high quality Tozai that they're going to be doing a grow out competition with. What I'll do is I'll put a little video now of the koi feeding. And also what I'll do is I think I might try to put a couple of pictures of the koi themselves, professional photos taken by the guys, if I can get some. So if I stop now and you see pictures of fish, happy days. But if you are interested, guys, it's on Saturday the 29th at Perfect Aquatics. I'll put the sort of like the little flyer and the information on now. And I'll put it on for like, 5-10 seconds so you can like absorb that and have a little look. And see what's going on there. But another little thing going on as well. I did try to upload it to my Instagram yesterday, but for some reason I was having problems with my Instagram uploading stuff. Go over to Chip in Rastacoy. There's a place in Wales here, which is, I think he might be going to next week or the week after. I can't remember, but I'll have a little look back now. But jump over to Rastacoy and have a little look at his channel because there's something that people might be interested to go and see that as well. So it's a weekend out, isn't it? And it's all to do with koi. So, I support anything to do with koi that anyone's going to do some effort and put some time into. Yeah. So anyway, I don't think this is going to be the full video because it'd be a bit boring. But what we might do is a little bit more tomorrow. I'll put it out. Or shall I just put this little one out? Let's see what else the day brings. Yumi Koi mud pond events in Japan. So I've got a really good bunch of friends that owns an amazing place called the King Arthur in the Gower. And I'm considering renting one of their mud ponds. So this is one of their mud ponds that I'm considering renting for my Tozai growth during the summer months. It probably would work quite well, actually. I wouldn't like to put a fluke treatment in there though. And if anyone's interested, This is the wedding hall. It's lovely. So our really good friends own this place. It's absolutely stunning, right? Because if you go through here, you've got a lovely pub in the front, and you've got all of these kind of little cottages and stuff like that to rent, do you know what I mean? It's absolutely gorgeous. But it's right in the middle of the Gower Peninsula, like literally in the middle. So I used to live about a mile away from this place, just down the road there, in a little village called Bury Green. And it's absolutely gorgeous. There's normally cows and stuff around here. There's a truck. Oh. How sick is that Batman toy? Hello. So then, guys, one of the most favourite things of my things to do is not only put absolute Parasite Plus in, but stick my little carp fishing chair right there so I can see my fish, a little tiny bag, a box of feed, a lovely glass of wine, and absolutely chill. Just look at my fish from exactly where they should be looked from, above. Glass of wine, absolutely beautiful.